Hi guys, DragonSwarm here doing another base scout and attack replay. This one's going to be a DragonSwarm replay. I'm really excited to start doing these DragonSwarm replays because I feel like most of our attacks in wars are DragonSwarms, as they should be. Town Hall 7s and Town Hall 8s, DragonSwarm is really your best strategy most of the time. In fact, I'd say for Town Hall 7s, it's the only strategy that should be used in war because it's a guaranteed 3-star against any other Town Hall 7 base. There's not a single Town Hall 7 base out there that can withstand a good DragonSwarm. Town Hall 8 bases, it's also going to be able to 3-star most of them. Probably 25% aren't going to be 3-starable by DragonSwarm because they have maxed out air defenses and are well laid out. And for those, we'll want to use a Wizard P.E.K.K.A. strategy or a Hog strategy or some other strategy. But for the most part, for most of our Town Hall 7 and 8 players, DragonSwarm is going to be your best bet. So if we can become masters at it, we will be unbeatable in war. Many of our players are really good at it already, and many are learning and becoming better. And I'm hoping that these videos will help us become even better. So there's two basic strategies that people use when they use DragonSwarm. One is to use 3 lightning spells to destroy an air defense, and one is to bring in rage spells and heal spells. You can choose whichever is the best for you, but I think for 90% of the people, lightning is going to be what's the best. Sorry about the interruption. My daughter woke up. I had to go help her get back to sleep. What I was saying is that I think that lightning spell is the best approach for most people. I've watched every replay of every attack in our wars, and I noticed that the people who use lightning with their DragonSwarms seem to do better overall than versus when rage or rage heal is used. There are a few people in our clan who use rage or rage heal effectively, and if that works for you, continue to do it. But I think for people who haven't had success so far, or who are maybe new to the strategy and are trying to figure out what's good for them, I suggest trying lightning because I think it will be better for most people. Now when you do lightning, you need to use 3 lightning spells on the same air defense to kill it. You can't use 2 or 1, that's essentially worthless. It may damage the air defense a little bit, and I guess that has a slight help in that when the dragons finally do get to it, they'll kill it quicker. But they're already going to kill it pretty quick when they do get to it. If 2 or 3 dragons get to the air defense, it's only going to take about 2 attacks total to kill it. So by using the lightning, 2 lightnings on it, maybe you made it so that 1 attack killed it. That doesn't really help you much. That saves one air defense shot, right? Because the air defense shoots once per second. Maybe it saves 2. It doesn't help you very much because the whole time that all the dragons are coming in to attack it, they're getting hit because it's still alive. Versus if it's dead, it's not attacking them at all. So really, there's practically no benefit to dropping 2 on, 1 or 2 lightning spells on any building. Use 3 or don't use them. If you're not going to use 3, then use a different approach. Pick the right level of air defense for your level of lightning spell. I'm going to do a separate video discussing the mechanics of lightning spells in detail, so I won't discuss it here. As a general rule of thumb, if you have a level 5 lightning spell, you're good to go for anything up to level 6 air defense. It's not always going to work 100% of the time. It is probabilistic, but you're going to be in the high 80% range for level 6 and level 5 air defenses, and you're going to be in the 90%, high 90s for anything below that when you have level 5 lightning. If you've got level 4 lightning, you're still okay, but your percentages are a little bit lower if you're attacking level 5 or level 6 air defenses. So if you have a level 4 lightning spells, I'd suggest maybe staying at level 4 or lower air defenses for your target. You can still kill a level 5, but your probabilities just go lower, and it may not work sometimes. About 2 out of 3 times it works, and about 1 out of 3 times the lightning or the air defense will still be alive, and you'll be cursing. You'll think it's because you didn't drop them dead center, but that's actually not it. The strikes have a 2 square radius splash area, so unless you're like way off, unless you're like clear out here with them, that wasn't what it is. Try to get your spells within the visual size of the building right there, not on the green. As long as you do that, you're okay. You don't need to be like stressing out about getting them exactly dead center. Alright, 3 lightning spells on 1 air defense. Believe it or not, picking the correct air defense is really important. It's not just randomly choosing any air defense. you want to know what side you're going to attack from with your dragons, and you want to choose the air defense that's furthest away from that side. That's because you always want to attack the strongest air defense side when you're using air troops. So if you kill one air defense on one side, then this side becomes the strongest air defense side because it's the side that's still got 2 air defenses left, and that means you're going to attack from this side. The reason that you attack from the strongest air defense side is because at the beginning of the battle you have the most number of dragons, and they're the most concentrated. You're going to drop them maybe in a line like this, or maybe in a line like this, like Max does when he does this attack in Jilly's account. They're going to be fairly concentrated, and you're going to have all 8 or 10 alive. As the battle goes on, you're going to lose dragons, and they're also going to begin to dissipate. They're going to spread out, and you're going to have them less concentrated. So, even though people tend to think that it might be safer to attack from the side that is missing an air defense, it's actually the exact opposite. Your goal is to 3-star the base, which means eventually you're going to have to take on these remaining 2 air defenses. Would you rather take them on when your dragons are all close together and you have 10 of them? Or would you rather take them on when your dragons are all spread apart across the base and you've only got 4 left? When you put it that way, it seems pretty obvious that you want to take the strongest side on in the beginning and not save it for later in the end when your troops are practically dead. So choosing the air defense that leaves you a strong side that is most accessible and advantageous to you is key. So in this case, if you kill this air defense, that leaves these 2 alive. What do you notice about these 2? There's no high HP buildings between them. Also, they're together in a nice line from this direction, so dragons coming in this way would hit both air defenses easily. Similarly, even though they're not on a nice line from this direction, they are in the path of dragons coming from this way, and you'll see that this is the route that Max chooses, and the dragons get to both air defenses handily. So by killing this air defense, we make it easy to get to these 2. Now consider if you had taken this one out instead. What do we have here? The 2 remaining are on opposite sides of the base from each other. There's no one side of the base that you can use to attack both air defenses. If you come from this side, you've got to go through the whole base before you get to this side. Same thing if you get from this side, you've got to go through the whole base before you get to that side. Even worse if you attack from this side. If you attack from this side, you've got to clear out all of this stuff before you get to either of them. And then when you do get there, most of your dragons are going to get stuck on this high HP clan castle, and they're going to be getting hit by both air defenses together, and it will just be a disaster, similar coming from this side. The point being, by taking out the middle one, you left air defenses on opposite sides of the base with high HP buildings between them. That's always going to be a recipe for disaster. So look for taking out the air defense that leaves the remaining 2 on the same side of the base as each other, in a line even better if you can, and with no or as few as possible high HP buildings between them. So in this case, that's clearly this one, and that's what Max does. So rule number 1, take out the right air defense. Rule number 2, attack from the strong side of the base, which we already talked about, so I won't repeat it. This is going to be the strong side of the base. Here, if this one's taken out, this would also be acceptable, or this would also be acceptable because they're still going to path into them. Over here would not be acceptable because they're going to have to go through much more of the base to get to that final air defense. Rule number 3 is clear out the buildings on the side of where you want your dragons to go so that they'll continue to go where they want to go. That wasn't said very well. Let me try to make it better. If you have dragons in a line and you want them to go in a direction perpendicular to that line, you need to clear out the garbage that's on the right and the left of the line perpendicular to where you want them to go. So if we want them to go this way, we need to clear out the garbage that's on this side and the garbage that's on this side. That will ensure that the dragons come in this way. It's often said that the dragons are stupid and that they just never went the way we wanted them to, or they split, or this and that, and it's true, they are stupid and they do split, but part of the reason is that we left buildings for them there to tempt them off to the side. Because while they are stupid, they follow a fairly simple routine, and that is that they go to the nearest building. If you've got dragons coming in this way, and they kill this, and they kill this, what's the nearest building? Well, this one is closer to them a lot of the time, because they'll be sitting out here to attack this building. This is going to be closer than that, so they're going to start going to the side. Well, once they go to the side this way, now they're going to start bouncing around out this way and going around, all the while getting hit by this air defense, but never coming in, because there's always going to be a closer building out here. Now you're still going to get some of your dragons going in, but this is how they get split up. You get 2 or 3 going in and 2 or 3 going around. The air defenses can handle the 2 or 3 that are coming in, kill them easily, and the ones that are going around just die slowly. So the goal is if we can get rid of some of these side buildings, then dragons coming, say like this, have nowhere to go but into the air defenses, right? And that's what we want. We want them to come this way. So when we say clear the garbage around the left and the right or on the sides, that's what we're talking about. Oh darn. I didn't realize it'd been that long. Alright, so let's watch Jilly do it, and you'll see what I mean by clear the garbage. So, rule number 1, pick the right air defense. Rule number 2, to attack from the strong side after you killed the one air defense. And rule number 3, clear the garbage to the left and the right. Now, let's see. Alright. Max attacking on Jilly's account is a perfect example of all of these rules. Boom, 3 lightning spells, doesn't hesitate, doesn't drop 1, watch the whole animation, drop 2, watch the whole animation, just drops them all, kills it. Now look at this. Why did he drop 1 here and 1 here? It's exactly what we talked about. He's clearing the garbage off the sides. Now with this gone, any dragons dropped in this area or this area are going to be much more likely to go in this direction rather than to go around. If they kill this one, this is clearly the next closest building rather than going this way. There's a huge gap right here. Now eventually they're going to come out and get these, but by the time they come out and get those, hopefully these have been taken care of. By killing this one, there's a huge gap now between the sides, and these dragons are going to be much more likely to go in. So you can do this with dragons like he does, or if they're accessible, you can bring in an archer to pick it off, you can bring in a wizard to pick it off. You can sometimes use your barbarian king, although I don't necessarily like that strategy, but the point is do something to clear out the side stuff. Now ideally, if it's set up so that you want your dragon or whatever that you drop that kills one to also take out more, like take out this entire side if he can. That's not always possible because time is a consideration, and also once he gets into here, he's going to start getting hit. So at least take out the 1 key building. If it's a base that's set up so that you can take out more, great. Now you wait until those buildings are gone before you drop your line. If you drop your line while those buildings are still there, they may still be tempted to go around the side, and once they start going, it may be hard to stop them. You don't wait much longer after that though. As soon as those buildings are gone, you're going to see he drops his line of dragons. Boom, buildings are gone. Well, maybe he doesn't do it as soon. There we go, here they come. Nice line. So he dropped them in a line this way. Now if you drop your dragons in a line when there's not much of a curvature to the base, they're going to go perpendicular to they're going to go in a general direction perpendicular to the line. I know that's kind of a mathy sounding thing, but just bear me out. If you drop them this way, they're going to go that way. If he dropped them this way, they're going to go mostly this way. Now they may kind of start getting sucked around that way because there's these side buildings. But the general idea is if you want your dragons to go this way, drop them in a line this way, and as long as you've cleared out whatever's going to suck them to the side, they're going to generally follow that line that you've drawn. If he wanted them to go this way, he would have needed to drop kind of like a rectangular shape this way, and because he'd cleared out the side here and the side here, they would go generally that way. Now, here's one thing that is a slight problem. He didn't clear the CC first. That's something that's okay when you're doing DragonSwarm. Dragons can usually handle the clan castle themselves. Personally, I still like to clear the CC first. I think it's worth it. You're going to see that he loses a dragon and gets another dragon damaged as a result of not clearing the CC. And they can also pull your dragons off of course. Now sometimes people try to use the CC troops to pull their dragons into the center, and that can work. It's got its advantages, I guess, if you like it, but I tend to think that it pulls the dragons off course more than it pulls them on, and you can lose troops as well, so I prefer to clear. So this dragon here is just getting rocked by this dragon here, and now he's toast. Now these dragons are going to come off of their original path, which would have been in, to fight this dragon. Now they end up killing him, but look at this. We've got 2 dragons all the way down into the red as a result. Now part of that they were getting hit by the air defense, so that part of that damage was from the air defense, but part of that was from the dragon. Remember, dragons do splash damage, and if you've got your dragons all grouped up to attack one dragon, his blasts are going to hit all of them. So that's just one reason why I prefer to have the CC cleared. Now they made it into the air defense. You notice because this building was there, they had no temptation to go around. All of these dragons came in and took care of that. Because this was cleared, when these dragons are done with killing this, they're going to come in. Now there's also the balloons coming in to help kill the air defense. I'm not sure which one gets there first, but even if those balloons hadn't come in to help, these dragons would have taken care of this air defense because there's no temptation left for them to go around. But the balloons are a nice touch just to make sure that it gets done, and it gets done with losing a minimum of dragons. If you're going to do it, you should do it the way that Max did here, which is he waited until the air defense had locked onto the dragons, then he dropped his balloons, because they're going to have to stop and pause on this building to kill it, and they're really slow, and then they're going to come in here. If he just tried to do that first, at the start of the battle, those balloons would never have even made it to the air defense, or maybe one would have made it, but not enough to kill it. It would have been a total waste. So by waiting until the dragons were within range, now the air defense is locked on the dragons, these balloons are going to have free reign to get into the air defense. Air defense down, and we're golden. We're going to go ahead and fast forward it because the rest of it is just cleanup, right? Air defenses are all down. Actually, let me make one note. He brings his BK in during cleanup time. That's a good thing. I don't like it when I see the BK come in right at the first and just get killed after like taking out one garbage building. It's kind of a waste. Really, with DragonSwarms, oftentimes what kills the raid is just time. They've run out of time. And so if the BK can be used to help with cleanup rather than just dying at the start, I think it's much better. Now, sometimes you need to use the BK at the start to clear a building. I understand that. But I would prefer to see him stay alive if it's possible. Alright, beautiful attack by Jilly. I hope the advice is helpful for our DragonSwarmers. If anyone has any specific questions about DragonSwarms, please ask and we'll try to answer them. And I'll continue to do replays of some of the really good examples to show you, especially the cutting of the garbage, because I think that's the hardest concept for people to get. But as we watch it more and more, I think you'll begin to see what I'm talking about. Alright, signing off. Bye.